Tim Dunstone Bradley was good. Hey, real quick, I want to talk to you guys about Shakur Stevenson and why Shakur doesn't need Tank. You know, you already know the perception of Tank by many of the boxing pundits, and it's the fans of boxing. You know, you already know how they feel about Tank Davis when it comes to, I hear people talk about his resume. I hear people talking about, well, he's only one division champion. He really only won one belt. The guys that he's faced, he hasn't faced a top tier elite fighter, so on and so forth. So with that being said, why even want to entertain a fight with Tank Davis? I mean, how much credit are you going to really get, Shakur, besides the money, right? That's what Tank brings. He brings interest. He brings a lot of fans in the seats, But as far as legacy goes, if people are holding Tank at a very low status, well, do you need him? Do you really need him? How you doing, man? Good morning. Do you really need him? Because I personally don't think that you need him, Shakur, you should be here to create your own legacy. You're about the competition. You are about that bread as well. And I think it's important for you to really look at the landscape, man, of boxing and see where your big money fights are, besides Tank Davis. As you know, you hear through the grapevine, I think he even told you on X that, he's contemplating retirement after his Jake Paul fight. You're getting ready, hopefully, if Teofimo Lopez signs the contract, Shakur, to be fighting Teofimo Lopez, who has accomplished quite a bit in the sport, man, and has been in the ring with some legends, Josh Taylor, also Lomachenko. I think that type of fight makes sense. Going up to 140 pounds, getting another strap, beating the quote-unquote the Ring Magazine champion, or considered the best number one fighter at 140 pounds. You beat him, but I also foresee me, if I was your manager, a throwdown with Ryan Garcia. He fought against Tank. He brings big money. How much you gonna get as far as legacy goes? Not a whole lot. Ryan Garcia hasn't done much in the sport. However, that's a guy that you can get. Y'all had some words on social media. I don't know if y'all cool or not, but I think that'll be a great fight for you. Ryan Garcia, even after his loss against Rolly Romero, that's a big money fight for you right there. I just feel like everybody and their mama's trying to chase Tank, and they feel that he's not right mentally, and you hear all the narratives and stuff that we, the media, and and the fans create. But I just look, you got other guys that you can cook, man. That's just it. You got other guys that you can cook in and around your division. But that big money fight for you would be Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia, he come back, he fights someone, and you beat Teofimo Lopez, then you fight Ryan for that money. Makes sense to me. You can meet him at 144. You don't have to meet him at 147. You guys can do that catch weight stuff that this new school of fighters be doing, and get your money that way. But I would advise you, leave Tank alone, man, for real. No need to keep beating on a dead horse, man. You too skilled. You got too much value for the sport. You got too much value for the sport of boxing and your career, man. And it just doesn't look right you chasing a guy. You call him out once, maybe twice, but then after that, bro, like, hey, let it go. Now you looking desperate. Now you looking like you need him, and on top of that, you putting a price tag if you were to fight him on yourself. So Focus on that. I mean, you got Haney as well that you can go after. And that's, you guys have history. And why not? Why not? Haney's about to get ready to fight Norman Jr. I'm not sure who's going to win that fight, but if Haney wins the fight, you got him too you can look at. If the money is important to you, man, there's a lot of fights, potential big matchups out there for you to make big money other than fighting against Tank Davis, who many consider to be, I guess, nothing in the sport. I beg to defer because years ago, a lot of you guys, man, even a lot of the boxing pundits, man, had Tank Davis before this Roach fight, had him number 1 in the division, okay? And now, since he didn't look that great against Roach and got a draw and everything else that went on in the fight, where it's a knockdown, it's not a knockdown, or whatever, it wasn't called, now everybody's looking at Tank like he ain't nothing. And 6-7 months ago, before the fight, Tank was the baddest man at 135 pounds. Another thing I want to talk about is why Shakur Stevenson is one of those guys that is off limits. A lot of guys don't want to face him. I know one particular guy that's willing to face him, and his name is Abdullah Mason. I've spoken to numerous of them on accounts when I seen them face to face, his entire team, and they would honor a matchup with Shakur Stevenson. And that says a lot about the young gun who is going to be fighting for his first world championship real soon. So it says a lot about him, a lot about his belief system. A lot of these guys, he sparred Shakur years ago. So he's kind of tested the waters, and he understands what he's capable of doing against Shakur Stevenson. And Shakur knows too. Shakur's one of those guys that, spar anybody. He sparred Tank years ago. He spars everybody. Keyshawn, you name it. All the top guys. Shakur is one of those guys that want to challenge himself and his abilities against everybody. Even Terrence Crawford, he works with Bud, right on a regular basis. You see Shakur right there, right beside Bud the whole time. He's getting the game from the best fighter in the world. That's why I tell you guys that Shakur is going to be the next one up. Trust me, he's going to be the next one up, man. You might not think that he's strong enough. You might not think that, he doesn't punch hard enough. But that's not boxing. That's not all the requirements you need for boxing, man. You need this. I don't know how much I got to tell you guys, man. You can have, a few weapons, and you got this, and you got a hell of a memory, and you understand positions and patterns and of different fighters, and you can recognize them, and you quicker got that processor, and you can beat anybody. You can beat anybody. It's just not about just one thing or two things, man. I'm telling you, it's about this processor, man. The smartest man wins. That's it. And that's why a lot of people are afraid to fight Shakur. It's not anything. It's not, his defense. He is one of the best plus minuses in all of boxing. I think he's number 1. That's the amount of hits that he lands versus the amount of hits that lands on him. His defense, of course, he has great defense. And, that's a small part of why a lot of guys don't want to face him, because you don't want to be getting hit. The guy's right in front of you and you can't hit him. It's demoralizing. So, many people can talk about Shakur's power and what he's not. And, he doesn't have these attributes or that or this or that. But what he does have, he knows how to use. He's very efficient with what he has and all his skills. Very efficient, and he knows when to use them, when not to use them. He knows when to go, when not to go, when to lay back, when to press forward. And see, and that's the thing that doesn't get talked about. Everybody always talking about this power, and it's like the main thing. That's not boxing, man. When you fight Shakur Stevenson, you got to have a high boxing IQ. If you don't have a high boxing IQ, you're not gonna beat him. That's the only way, because it's really hard to outthink him. That's why he's so damn good, because you can't outthink him. He's always a step or two ahead of you. I would say even sometimes 3 steps ahead of you. You know, and those are the best fighters, the greatest fighters in the world. They always 2-3 steps ahead of you all the time. That's the Bud Crawfords of the world, Bivalds of the world. Like, you know, a lot of the guys that come before us, man, top guys, they were 2-3 steps ahead of their opposition. You know, and that's what makes Shakur great. That's what makes him great in my eyes. You know, he's still going through the ranks, man, and you know, going through the pound for pound list and stuff like that. You know, he doesn't get a whole lot of opportunities like a lot of these other guys. You know, his style is considered quote unquote boring to many people out there. You know, but a lot of people watch him. That's crazy, huh? A lot of people watch him. So, but that's the reason why I feel the Shakur is avoided. He's avoided because he embarrasses fighters. He might not knock you out, but he gonna take everything away from you, and he gonna have you in the corner. He gonna have your trainer frustrated too in the corner. Like, man, just throw punches, hit him anywhere. It don't matter. Just throw, just hit him anywhere. He gonna frustrate the hell out of you. Yeah, that's what he gonna do. He gonna no-mash your ass. So, but anyways, Shakur, man, I know you watch the channel, man, and you know, look, man, I'm gonna tell you, bro, I appreciate you promoting the channel, bro. You know, since you've been promoting the channel, bro, the channel has grown, bro, for real, and I respect and I appreciate that. You know, I'm gonna continue to get the real. You know that, man. You know me. I got a job to do, man. I'm active in this sport of boxing, bro. But I do appreciate you, bro, for definitely uplifting the channel, man, and putting the channel on notice, bro. And I respect you for that, bro. And you know, I'm looking forward to your next fight, man. I think you, Teofimo Lopez, is a great matchup. It's gonna be a very technical matchup. Teo definitely gonna have to come try to get you. But the crazy thing is that I know boxing so well. You might go looking for him. See, people, man, they don't know. They just don't know Shakur. They don't know Shakur. You know what I'm saying? They don't know what they looking at. Yeah, you might just go to him in some spots, right? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, that's my time, man, and I'm out.